All right, here we go, everybody. Welcome, Paradox of Sports, episode 23. 23 is a big number to make it to. When I was your age, Jack, the greatest athlete, greatest professional basketball player to ever live, wore number 23. That's what number 23 always reminds me of. Not sure for kids your age what number resonates with you, but we'll get going here. How have you been?
Good. That number 23, LeBron.
Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, buddy.
LeBron James.
LeBron James is a fake 23. Fake.
Really?
Yeah. Michael Jordan, one team. Well, I can't say one team, one number. That's a lie because he went to the Wizards for whatever that was late in his career. But LeBron got to moving around way early. So, Nuggets, Lakers. What's your prediction for that series?
Nuggets, Lakers. I feel like the Nuggets can go all the way. So it's going to be Nuggets.
You're calling the Nuggets shot now to win the title? Like the whole thing?
No, just to make it to the championship.
Gotcha.
It's going to be hard to face the Lakers, but I have a feeling.
Okay. They might get him, man. Now, you've been busy. We're actually a little late getting this week's episode out. It's noon on Thursday, and we're taping. So kind of in the last week, what all update us on what you've had going on?
Basically just I've had sports every day since Monday. Monday, football practice. Tuesday, baseball practice. Wednesday, football practice. Today, I have baseball practice. Friday, I have football practice. Saturday, football game. Sunday, baseball game.
No, you're busy then, man. So we'll that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, we're sneaking this in the best we can. So doing what we can do. What happened with your picks last week? What was the deal? Why were you is it going against the spread that you're still working on, or what are we doing there?
What do you mean?
You didn't do very good with your picks.
I don't know.
That's okay. That's okay. We'll do better this week. That's the fun of it. What it is you, and we talked about it early on, is it's you learning to pick the spread. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That is something that takes a little bit of thought. And the one that we did talk about, you did hit. I can't remember if it was the Bengals game or what. One of those we talked about. So, but yeah, so you got football going, baseball going, school going. So you're a busy guy.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we sat down with Mr. Brooks again this week. So should we just get right into it and talk a little sports with Jim, and then we'll give our NFL picks after that?
Yeah. Introducing the first repeat on the Paradox of Sports podcast, Jim Brooks.
Have me back. I love being the first repeat guest on the Paradox of Sports.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time out to talk with us tonight. And as we always do, to get things started, we'll go ahead and toss it to our boy Jack.
All right. First question, how is the golf game?
You know, the golf game is sensational right now. I'm playing as good as I have played in a long time. My brother's been giving me a little help. Here's a little inside tip. My brother Tommy, he said my weight was too far forward, so that was throwing off my spine angle. So the whole solution to the whole thing was stick your butt out. Now, we use the more graphic term, the 3 letters, but stick your butt out, get your spine angle straighter, make a more solid turn at the top. In other words, if your spine's rounded like this, it doesn't matter how it's hard to turn your shoulders correctly. So if your spine angle's straighter, then you can turn more like this. Does that make sense? If you're like this, it was hindering my turn. So we got my turn straightened out. I made 6 birdies on Saturday. I played 3 straight rounds under par. Now, they haven't been the hardest tests in the world. Holly Dot was burnt out. It was like playing St. Andrews, only easier. So the ball was running forever, and I tend to hit the ball in the fairway, so it got a lot of roll. And then played there again last Sunday, and then played at the park on Sunday, and I made 6 birdies. It was shot 67 with a bogey on a par 5. I bogeyed the 3rd hole of all things, but that was a little maddening early in the round. Then I bogeyed the 5th hole, so I was 1 over after 5, but then played from there on out, played at 4 under. So short story long, the golf game is really good right now.
All right.
Right at the end of the season, when I wish I could keep playing, but I'll keep playing through probably the end of October. We'll go play at Pueblo West. We're playing Pueblo West Sunday, so as long as the weather's good, we'll keep playing.
All right. So you posted that you've never lost the Sons of Italy golf tournament. What is the best annual tournament you play in each year?
Well, that's always the most fun we ever have because I get together Jack Everhart, my buddy, and then usually a few times we've had Paul Boucher, my old high school teammate from South. He makes a trip down from Denver. We used to play with Tony Spicola, and so we've always had some pretty good teams. I played one year on the morning after my 30th high school reunion on about 30 minutes of sleep, so that was eventful. But we've always have a lot of fun in that. That's always the most fun tournament. The CSU-Pueblo one's usually pretty good, but this year they decided to have it at the last minute. So my team sponsor, he was a little upset by all that. So he just, he said, hey, I can't make arrangements at the last minute. So we didn't play. So I usually play with Joe Servey and Dr. Robinson and one other guy, Schlomer. But that's always fun. Played the PCC tournament this year with Charles Hurley, and we won that on a 30-mile-an-hour windy day at Country Club, so that's fun. But as far as individual tournaments, the tournament I remember when I was younger that I used to have the most fun at, I thought, was the Colorado Public Links. That was always a good tournament. I finished second one year in that tournament at Riverdale Dunes. But that was fun. State Amateur used to be fun when I played in that. Best I ever finished in the State Amateur was 6th when it was at the Boulder Country Club. So that was always fun. A few of the other invitationals around the state were fun. City tournament always fun here in Pueblo, but I haven't really played the city tournament much. I haven't played the big tournament since when that'd be 12 years ago, I think, when I was 47. Maybe 11 years ago was the last time I played in the championship flight. I played the senior flight a couple times, but we have a trip to Vegas every year, usually right around 4th of July, so I just don't play in it anymore. The 2-man with Rich Reasoner was always the most fun because you got to play with your old high school golf coach every year, and that was a lot of fun on Memorial Day. I really miss not being able to play with Rich anymore, but he runs in the Boulder now every year with his family, so that's when that ended.
Do you enjoy the laid-back fundraiser golf tournaments or the very serious golf tournaments?
Well, yes. They both have what I like. I like to compete. I play better golf when I'm under the gun. I'm not a good casual golfer, although I'm getting better at it, as we're finding out this year. But I find out I tend to play better when there's a little heat on. So here lately, I've been under par. So that, in a way, puts heat on you. So it makes you bear down more because you want to keep going under par. I'm not a very good golfer when you're out a couple over and it's just not happening. So, but the fundraisers are okay. The funniest part about a fundraiser tournament usually you're kind of and in my situation, you're kind of a hired gun, or they have you come in and the first 3 guys hit, and then they go, okay, we really need a good shot here. What's this? It's always we really need a good shot here. Oh, we need to make this putt. Well, you first 3 guys didn't come close, but I'll do my best. So, but that can be fun and maddening at the same time. I used to play in the Italian Open, and you never knew who you were going to play with. I've only played it a handful of times, but that's one of the reasons I gave up playing it, because you're always stuck with somebody you didn't know, and it seemed like they always knew who I was, so they kind of stacked the field against me, which they didn't do. They always said it was a blind draw.
What are some do's and don'ts? Like, what are some of your do's and don'ts from those?
The fundraiser tournaments? I lost you. There you go. You came back. What are the do's and don'ts of a fundraiser or a scramble?
No, like the fun ones. Like when you're doing the fun ones, what are mistakes you've seen the host of the tournament make, or is there stuff when you're playing in the fun one that you
okay.
just don't like?
Well, CSU-Pueblo used to always overbook it. Used to drive me nuts. I know what they were trying to do. They were trying to make as much money as they could. But in a scramble, you only have 18 holes. So the most you can have on a hole is 2 if it's not a par 3. On a par 3, you can only have 1. So if you have a golf course, most golf courses, 4 par 3s and 14 par 4s and 5s. So the maximum amount of teams you can have to make it run smoothly is 32. Now, CSU-Pueblo used to book 36, 37, 38, and it was ridiculous. You were out there for 6.5, 7 hours. So that's the first mistake most of them make. 32 is tops. Now, this year, you don't have that problem because they're only allowing 18 teams out there at a time, so you're having split deals. You have a morning wave and an afternoon wave, and you never have more than one group on each hole. That was always the most maddening things, overbooking a tournament. That used to drive me nuts. I know why they did it. They want to maximize the amount of money they make, but I always said, you know what? Charge more money, cap the field at 32. So that's the biggest thing. Mulligans, I hate mulligans. I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to raise money, but nobody is on the up and up on the mulligans. How do you check them? Well, did he have the mulligan, or do I get to use your mulligan, or is that mulligan mine? It just leads to shenanigans, in my opinion.
What is the proper etiquette then? What you were just talking about then as being the kind of the hired gun. This is something I've played with guys, kind of been invited in on teams, and we've had a guy that was the hired gun that was in there to do. Like, what's the most annoying thing, minus just the guys you're playing with getting hammered 3 holes in? Like, what else is, like, when you're the kind of the piece of meat there on display, what are some things you don't want your team doing?
In my younger days, I never did that. In my older days, I'm one of those hammered guys, probably. I tend to imbibe a little bit more. Like my brother has a tradition. He always has a little bottle. So when you make a birdie, you take a drink. So this week I made 6 birdies. He made 1. So we had 7 shots.
Ooh.
But that's over 4 hours now.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's true. And it's probably 110.
No, I did. There was a point where I made 4 birdies in a row.
Yeah. So that's 4 in
So
about.
that was a little adventure. 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
We had a little break though till the next one was on 15, I think. No, I would say when you're putting, make sure you get it to the hole if you're the D player. Don't leave it short. Get it to the hole so we can see the line. That really is your role, is to show the rest of us the line.
I've done that. I've been that guy before.
Yeah, so you don't want to leave that first putt way short, and then if you're the second or third guy and you've watched the first guy leave it short and then you watch the second guy leave it short, don't be the third guy to leave it short. Now, I posted a video on Brooks and Dumb here last week where the first 2 guys, Jack and Tony, left it both short. I go, you got to get to the hole. And Paul missed it, and then I cashed in. That was 2013. That was a little flashback segment we did there. But, yeah, I'd say that's the main thing. Get it to the hole. And then, if you hit a bad shot, just hit a bad shot. Don't try to make excuses for it. Just say, I slipped. The club slipped in my hand, or
these clubs suck.
Or you hit a bad shot. Just hit a bad shot. But I'm as guilty as anybody. Oh, my foot slipped there. That's my most famous one. The foot slipped.
How much do you miss calling college football games right now?
Oh, I told some friends of mine, and even in fact, I had a little post this week on Saturday afternoon when I was watching the Notre Dame game against Duke, and I kind of walked around out in the front yard, was doing a couple things, and it was a gorgeous Saturday afternoon. I'm going, I should be doing a football game today. This is ridiculous. And I was kind of upset about it. So the first weekend, I had enough going on. It's Labor Day weekend. You got, but this week, I really missed it. I said I should have been doing a ball game. And there's a certain, you guys understand it, the lighting changes in September. The sun's a little further down in the south, so the angle of the light is different. It's what I call, hey, it's football light. In the evening, there's a little chill in the air. So you feel that chill. That's football chill. In the morning, it's crisper. That's the things that make you know it's football season. Even playing golf on Sunday when it was beautiful weather on Sunday. It was probably 75, 78 degrees, but it's not god awful 95 degrees. It's cooler. It's football weather, and that's when I miss it. When the weather changes, the lighting changes. Even driving home today from work, I said, man, it's football light.
Yeah. I almost sent you because it popped up on the messages. We've talked about it before, and then I think when Morgan Fox was on, that my favorite game, everything I've done minus one, I've consumed CSU football with you and Joe. And when they went down and beat Stephen F. Austin?
Sam Houston, yeah, Sam Houston.
Or Sam
State.
Houston, yeah, I'm sorry,
yeah.
Sam Houston. That was this last Saturday, however many years ago. And I almost shared it to you, and I was like, no, I bet he knows.
Yeah.
And that, it just sucks because it was cool the way they'd been building the schedule is, the conference stuff I think is more for the people that are maybe around and get to see it a little more. But the bigger non-conference games like that, I honestly remember sitting on the couch eating a bowl of green chili because it's fall, and dude, that was badass. So I didn't share it because I didn't want to send you into the depths of depression. But yeah, for everyone that's missing, it's got to just be weird because your fall right now is completely different than anything that's ever. There's no you and Servy getting gas and truth or consequences on your way to a game somewhere. It seems weird, but it's probably real weird for you guys.
Yeah, definitely. And, the road trips, I miss that. Miss traveling with Joe. Also, just not having a game to do. Plus, my bank account misses a little bit. I'm just starting to miss that. I'll miss it in about 2 weeks when that 2-week pay period comes by. It's monthly with the Thunderwolves, so I miss that at the end of the month. I'll go, man, oh man, I could have used that. But I definitely miss it. Friday nights, not being able to do a ball game, it just sucks. And I'm thinking, they're playing in different areas in the country. I hated the dog and pony show this last week with the governor, making the kids, giving them a ray of hope. Just tell them they're not going to play. Don't give them the ray of hope that, we're going to march up to Denver and plead our case to play. He knew all along they weren't going to play. Chassa knew all along they were going to play. Just tell them they're not going to play. Put Jack in the heartstrings.
And that's one thing that I've talked to my sister, her husband, they're all very involved, and they're in Northeast Colorado. But when I was there with you guys, there were a couple, 2-3 years that I worked with Rhonda. She used to take care of the small schools in Masari for the state tournament. And I believe her. She never gave you the inkling of dishonesty or anything. And when she said she enjoyed her small towns and the camaraderie she had with some of those people. But I think that Chassa is in a lose-lose situation here because they're, like you said, the government, they're not going to let them play.
Right. They're playing in Montana. My buddy Troy Tack was his boy. They had a big game up there, and I forget the name of the town they were in, but they had one of their big games of the year on Friday night up there. So
they're playing here in Gillette. We got 2 high schools. They're playing football. They're playing. My daughter, they went and watched a friend play tennis tonight. It's just insane that it's okay. I don't know. You don't want to say it, but it's politics. It's the way it is. You get caught with weed up here, you go to prison. You get caught with a gun down there, you go to prison. You get caught with your gun up here, nobody cares. It's weird how you cross that border from Cheyenne to Fort Collins and the rules change.
Yeah, I understand the whole COVID thing for some, but I'm just – it's a fine line I have to walk here. My wife's a teacher.
so's mine.
So they got to worry about the snot-nosed kids coming in. But my wife's doing the online. They worked with her this year, and she's got a couple of little underlying things that could be, conditions that might hurt your immune system. So I think she's fine. But in case there's always that little bit of stress. But I'm more to the other side. It's probably not right, but I'm saying, this is a cold that's got a few more. It's just a little bit different cold.
Get us back on track, buddy.
Exactly. Don't get me down here into the COVID area.
Oof, I need to go to the bathroom.
What?
Hey,
can we pause?
No, we're good.
Okay.
I saw his questions. We did the thing. I know what questions are coming. So,
right.
kind of
right.
this. Oh no, go ahead, Jack.
Jack, do your thing.
You.
I'll be here when you get back, buddy. I've had this effect on people before, Kevin.
No, it's okay. No, so one of the things we had talked about last week was just the 3 guys that are in the NFL. I don't know what Pinnell's thing is. I'll just leave that at what it is.
He's got a little 2-game suspension. Who knows?
Yeah, well, but
He's been. It's not the first time he's been suspended.
Yeah.
Might not be the last time.
Yeah. I didn't see the Bucs game. We were at the lake, so I thought Morgan Fox played a real good game. But I get on today, and I'm looking back at the 3 guys, and did you see the play with Jensen in the first quarter where I can't think of the name of the guy that kind of punched into the pile that hit the running back and dude, you have to pull it up because it's one of the linemen, and this is a big man. Man, defensive lineman. He reaches and punches twice, and Ryan jumps over the pile and squares him up. And the guy turns like he's ready to go, and he sees it's Jensen, and he's like, no, man, no, we're good. Like, it's –
Big Red, leave me alone.
Yeah. Like, I thought it was crazy because if you took – which I'm just going by what I see. I assume if both those guys were standing in UFC shorts, you'd put your money on that defensive guy because, he was jacked. But those – and then you go back, there was a game, probably 3 years ago where they hit Flacco late. The Dolphins did. And Jensen jumped in and just went to ground and pound. Like, it's crazy that, I think he's one of the most feared, if not the most feared offensive lineman. Like, that guy would have fought anybody else on the field, but when he saw it was Ryan, he was like, no, I don't want.
Well, who watches Tampa Bay football? Now, they're going to watch it this year, of course.
Well, yeah, it's the highest
highest
rated game yesterday since the Super Bowl. It was the most watched television event since the Super Bowl yesterday.
So once Ryan signed with them, I got to watch Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Just to watch. And I don't watch the play. I'm just watching him. It is amazing what he does to people. He's like a road grader. And yesterday I did notice I didn't get to see a lot of the games. I was golfing. I got home, watched toward the tail end. There was a moment where Ryan was face mask to face mask with a guy, and they were just chatting. It looked like a friendly conversation that maybe they were talking a little smack back and forth, but neither one of them was going to draw a penalty. But maybe they were comparing, breath mints or whatever. But they were face mask to face mask, just talking to each other, and you just wondered what the hell they were saying there. But yeah, Ryan, it is amazing watching him play football.
That's the one time we came down for one game, and it's actually is when West Texas beat them in Pueblo. I can't remember if it was a quarterfinal or a semifinal
I think the quarter
game. Yeah. Quarterfinal. But he stuck out.
Yeah.
And I didn't know anything about him, but I told Jennifer when we left, I was like, that dude's gonna be good. Like he was legitimately he was throwing those guys around like it was crazy. And then he is something else.
Yeah. Looks like Jack is back. Jack, you okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
So did.
That's never happened to you before, has it?
No, never before.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's a first for the paradox of sports.
Yes.
Yes. I do get that stuff done before.
Yeah,
you want to be prepared.
Well, you talk about Jack
And I
now
did.
he's going from school to practice to home, and his dad was like, "Hey, let's push this back." I was like, "No, we're going at 7:30." So Jack comes straight from school to the practice field to dinner to the computer.
To the computer, and then we'll get done with this, and we'll watch the Broncos tonight.
Yes.
Yeah, while
Well,
I
this
do
is
my homework.
So this is
Yeah,
like a
Jack's gonna do his homework.
This is like a pre-show before it's broadcast, so we can make our predictions and see how smart we were. If we think the Broncos, we got the Nuggets tomorrow. So
Okay, well I think
it's a
that
big night.
was
ahead
one
here.
of Jack's the next questions. What was your next question, Jack, on the sports?
Oh, number 5?
I think so.
We'll take number 5.
Yeah. What sports have you been watching to fill your time?
Well, I've watched a lot of golf. I've watched some IndyCar racing. That was a hell of a race on Saturday. I don't know where they were at. No, Ohio, because they doubled up.
Ohio.
Will Power. Well, I know you guys are NASCAR guys, but I'm more of the I like the IndyCar. I think there's more back and forth racing. It looks like you're just watching the freight train when you're watching NASCAR. That's his problem. Open wheel, you got more action. So I watched a little IndyCar racing. What I've been mostly doing when there wasn't any sports, I'm a big Access television fan. So I watched the top 10 revealed. I watched the Dan Rather interviews. I watched the Legends of Rock profiles and stuff like that. So that's what I've been doing. Sports-wise, it's been mostly golf because that's what was on. I've watched a little bit of Rockies baseball as much as I can stomach, but they keep running. I don't even know what the guy's name is. I try to.
I gave up on them 3 weeks ago.
The pitcher that's thrown like 5 games in the last.
Yeah.
I got into it a little bit with Tracy Ringlesby. I just said, Tracy, I go, how many times are you going to run this guy out there? And they ran him out there again 2 nights ago. The lead's gone. I mean, because he was on the road. He hasn't given up a run on the road in 38 appearances. I go, well, the last 4 times he's pitched, he's given up a lead. And lo and behold, gives up a lead at home. So, he throws at 98, but 98 tends to go out of the park at 108. That's the problem. So a little bit of
from
rock.
the dynamic of kind of knowing what goes on, like from where you've done the broadcasting and the radio. Who do you think from the production standpoint of the leagues? Have you liked what the NBA's doing or hockey or the NFL? I mean, is there anything you like and don't like about the production they're giving you?
I'm loving the hockey. I love the stuff, the billboards in the background with all, information here. And they got a little bit of noise there. It's the baseball game the other night, the Rockies game. I mean, it was like there was 50,000 people there at the Game 7 of the World Series. Even Drew said, he goes, man, the crowd is amazing tonight. It was on a Saturday night. Turn the crowd down.
Yeah.
I'd rather them play without any crowd. And let's just hear it like they're playing an American Legion game with nobody there. So you can hear everything they're saying. The canned crowd noise, I can't stand it. I really can't.
That seems to be the sentiment. A lot of people they don't like it.
I don't like the baseball's ridiculous. It just drives me nuts. Basketball, I've loved all the different camera angles. In fact, I watched the Nuggets game yesterday because I couldn't watch it live. I watched the Above the Rim rebroadcast on NBA TV. That's fascinating. If you want to watch that, you'd miss all the replays, and you don't have any broadcaster per se. You're just watching the game, and it's just that it's above the rim camera. So you watch all the plays develop, and so you just see how great of athletes they are. If the NBA, if we could just get the referees to call traveling when there is traveling, Kawhi, LeBron. Even Kawhi goes. I don't think Kawhi wants to walk, but he knows he can get away with it.
And if you can do it, if you're the all-star, if you've earned it, you're messing up if you don't get away with it.
It's gonna. If they call the game legitimately, the better players are gonna have a better advantage. But that's another thing. But the NBA have kind of enjoyed it from the different camera angles, and it seems like you're more. It's like you're almost at a game at. You're at Roncalli because you're right on top of the action at a middle school. Although Roncalli is a high school gym, you know what I mean. But that's another thing. But the short camera angles, I'm loving that. Hockey, it's those guys. The hockey games have been fantastic. I mean, the poor Avalanche, they outplayed those guys in overtime, should have won that game. But now Dallas is up 3. I think Dallas is getting beat tonight, though. They were earlier. I haven't seen an update.
Yeah, it was 1-0 when we started. I haven't seen.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that'll go about 7 games. It'll be a good. I think my money's on Tampa Bay, though. I think Tampa Bay is going to win it all in the NHL. And I think if the Clippers make it, the Clippers are going to beat the Lakers. But I don't know if they can beat the Nuggets.
Yeah, that's what's great. That's going to be.
The Nuggets are just those guys. Those guys do not give up. They're not as good as the Clippers, but I mean, they play hard and they do not give up. It's funny when it was 16 down. We're playing golf here, so we go, well, it's 16 down at halftime. And both my brother, it was like the old jinx moment. We both said they got them right where they want them.
Yeah,
down 16,
and they did.
They down 19, and they came back and won.
Yeah.
So I would still put my money on the Clippers tomorrow, but my heart's with the Nuggets, and I would not put it past them pulling off. And you got to look at the Clippers' history. What are they, 0-7 now in elimination games? Crazy in their history.
So yeah, they're
that's a
they
deep,
lose them. That's what they
history.
do.
Yeah, but production value as we get back to the original question. Yeah, I like the NBA. I like the hockey stuff. The golf's been good too because you're getting a lot of the crosstalk with the caddies and the players, so that's been good. Baseball, ridiculous, too noisy. The fake crowd noise. I kind of like the cutouts. I don't mind those. I like the Rockies. You get to see all the old players. It's fun to try to quiz yourself. Who is that guy?
Yeah, you think you'd remember. Like
guy?
I forget who they said the other night. I was like, I used to like him. Like I can't remember. But I didn't know who it was.
Yeah.
And they mentioned their name, and I was like, dang man, I remember that.
Yeah, he was
good.
good.
Couldn't put the name with the face. Okay, Jack, get your last question ready. But before you ask it, I got to tell you, you had talked about the IndyCar. So before it's all said and done for big sporting event stuff, you have got to go to an Indy 500. Jen and I went 3 or 4 years ago, and I am telling you, when they say it's the greatest spectacle in sports, it is. There's 400,000 people there, and probably 7 minutes before they threw the green flag, Pence drove by in the presidential limo. There were 2 big helicopters doing mock rescue missions in each corner. There were over 100 princesses of some kind in brand new Corvettes driving around. And there was like Ric Flair, Roger Penske, and all these people right down at the start. It was the most insane thing. And then they do the taps, 21-gun salute, national anthem, fly over, and they start that race in like 5 minutes. And it was,
Yeah.
I mean, you can't describe it to people, but if you can ever go, the Indy 500 is you cannot imagine.
Well,
the show
our
they put
late
on.
great buddy Dave Socher, he used to go. So, and his wife was from Indiana, and so he'd go back to Indy 500. He'd tell me about it. Plus, I used to do the way that I used to love to make the noise. He goes, "Yeah, you got that right on the money. Have you been there?" I go, "No, I love." And I sit here and I cry, I bawl like a baby when they sing "Back Home Again" in Indiana.
Oh,
I miss Jim Neighbors. The guy singing these are pretty good, but I'm all for that tradition stuff. But I love Indy racing is great. I mean, it's almost insane watching them come.
I'm like you, man. The taps thing. I have my glasses on, so I'm looking up. But when we had done it, we were close enough when they did the salute. We could hear the brass hitting the ground. Like it was like I said, there were 400,000 people there, and you could hear like the action on the rifles. Everybody, it was when Sato won his first one, and we had people from Spain, Germany, Japan, China, Argentina, right in our area. I mean, that was the funnest thing I've ever been to.
All right, we'll put that on my bucket list.
You got to put it on the bucket list. Okay, Jack, last question. Get us out of here.
What have you liked and disliked about the way sports are being played right now?
The way they've been played?
Yes.
I think the effort's been fantastic. Baseball, I'm kind of on like I said, I'm just not there yet with all the way things have been going on. And I haven't watched a lot of other games. I just haven't had that. See, baseball is one of those things that builds. And here we're trying to jam a 60 game. It's a cheapened schedule. Now, the NBA had the most of their schedules. It was all you're waiting for is the playoffs. So I don't feel like we got cheated out of anything. They had their little 10 game play-in deal. Hockey was basically the same thing. So it feels normal. Baseball, it feels abnormal to me. You know, with this 60 game schedule and 8 teams in each league making the playoffs. So I'm just not there with baseball. I thought the golf's been fabulous the last month, the playoffs and the PGA Championship, and I'm looking forward to the U.S. Open this weekend. So that's been good. Hockey is, Stanley Cup hockey is you don't know what's going to happen. That's the greatest thing hockey has going for it. You do not know who's going to win the game. Last night when the Lakers played Houston a couple nights ago, the Lakers are going to win. They're going to win in 5. Houston might steal a game. You just know what's going to happen. And we get to the semifinals here, the Lakers they're going to win. That's just the way it's going to be. Maybe the Clippers might be able to get them. That's the only bit of drama we got. I was a little upset Milwaukee, the way they played in the playoffs. And then their superstar has already opted out. He wants, he's the next guy that's going to end up in LA. Now is he going to end up a Clipper or a Laker? Because the NBA is kind of a rigged deal. So that's the only problem with it. So that always disappoints me. The NBA, I try to get into it. It's like they pull me in and then I get out again. I get out.
Other than the Nuggets, it's just being a hockey guy, the attitude and the effort in hockey, and then you switch over to an NBA game and you're just like, this is terrible. Yeah. So it's just the hockey's it's just a better product.
Except the Nuggets. The Nuggets, are the team that will not go away. They do not quit. Yeah. You see a lot of teams tank it. They could have easily tanked the last 2 games, and they're not tanking, which is refreshing. Now, football, We're going to see the games I saw yesterday. It looked like a little heavier dose of preseason, a lot of mistakes. That's my biggest worry with the Broncos is no preseason, and we're going to see a lot of just mistakes in this game. They're missing their number 1 receiver, which is going to hurt. So we'll see how that goes. But the jury's still out on the way football. Football, I think, is going to take 2 or 3 weeks to get really going. Then we'll find out what's going. So you got to avoid that 3-game losing streak to start the season. If you can get off to 2-1, even 1-2, then your team, you know where you're at. I don't know if that answers the question, but that's
absolutely it does. Well, it's about time for Kick for Broncos. We appreciate you taking some time. I know you got dinner cooking, and
that's right. It's Taco Monday.
It's Taco Monday. Absolutely. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you. Thanks, Jack. I love your show, buddy.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Brooks taking some time. Even since we taped that now, there's been some movement from CHSA. It looks like they're going to let the school districts decide. Jack, your buddy Austin White with the Chieftain, had posted that he had talked to a friend of the program, Mr. Macias, there at D60, and they were going to play. And then it looked like D70 or County was going to play, and they were waiting on Canyon City maybe. So folks will see it here in the next couple of days, but I think football's going to show up. So
yeah,
there'll be some high school football.
At first, I thought it was only 7th and 8th graders who can play football at Corwin, but it turns out that 6th graders can too.
Oh, okay.
First practice is after Christmas break.
Okay, so they'll get going and be playing some football.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. They'll be playing way more.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, speaking of football, let's do our NFL picks. You ready?
All right.
Now, I'm just going off the list, off the fantasy pool we're in. So, hold on one second here. Yo.
Yeah, that didn't.
That's because those points are forced.
That's how we were just wondering.
Yeah, give me like 10 minutes and I'll get them. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, man.
Yep.
Bye. Okay. We're going to have
Right.
to do a lot of editing on this. Okay, so here we go. NFL picks. I'm just running down through the fantasy lineup here. So, Thursday night game, Cincinnati at Cleveland. Cleveland's favored. Who you got?
I'm going Cleveland.
I am taking Cleveland as well. I'm going to take Cleveland and lay my points. Okay, moving to Sunday, the early games. You have Atlanta at Dallas. Cowboys at home. They're favored by 4.5. Who are you taking, Atlanta or Dallas?
I am taking. But who's favored again?
Dallas is favored by 4.5.
All right, I'm taking Dallas.
So you're going to take Dallas and lay the points.
Yes.
All right. Okay, next is Jacksonville at Tennessee. Tennessee is a 9.5-point favorite.
Easily Tennessee.
You think so you're going to take Tennessee and lay the 9.5?
Or I'm going to take the Jags.
And take your 10. You're going to take Jacksonville in the points.
Yes.
See, so am I. You're learning. You're going to do better this week. We're going to get this point thing figured out. I am on the same boat as you, Jacksonville, and I'm going to take my 9.5. Next game is the Rams at Philadelphia. Philadelphia is at home, and they are actually an underdog. So you get Philly plus 0.5 point. So it's basically a pick 'em.
All right. Who am I wanting to win?
Rams or Philly?
Rams.
I'm on the Rams as well. They look good. They look good last weekend. We got to go. Morgan Fox, friend of the program. Going to stick with that. Okay, now you have Buffalo at Miami.
All right.
Miami is the home team, and they get 5.5 points. So it's Miami plus 5.5. Buffalo coming to town.
I'm going to take Buffalo.
As am I. I usually try to pick the home teams if they get points, but the Dolphins are a disaster, so we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
Now, here we go. Denver at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's favored. It's Pittsburgh minus 6.5. So Denver at Pittsburgh. Who you taking?
Sorry for all the Broncos fans at home, but I got to take the Steelers.
Hey, I'm taking the Steelers too, dude. Hey, when you're making picks, man, there's no – loyalty gets you killed. It's the same thing as in fantasy. You can't do it. So Giants at Chicago. Giants at Chicago. The Bears are a 5.5-point favorite. So it's Chicago minus 5.5 at home against the Giants.
I am taking Chicago.
Okay, as am I. Taking Chicago. Okay, Carolina is at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay minus 9.5 at home with Carolina coming to town. Who you taking?
All right. Wait, what? What's the
The spread is Tampa minus 9.5. So Tampa's the
Okay.
home team. They have to lay 9.5 points with Carolina coming.
All right, I'm going to take the Panthers.
So am I.
Not
Take
laying
9.5
I'm
points.
doing
That's a lot of
Panthers.
points.
Yeah, I'm
For
not
as
going to
bad as
– they can't score 10 points against them.
No, Tampa's offense looked terrible. Minnesota at Indianapolis. So you have Indianapolis at home, and Indy has to lay 3.5. Minnesota at Indianapolis. Indianapolis is a home team minus 3.5.
Let's go Indianapolis here.
Okay, we're different on that one. I'm taking the Vikings. You're taking Indy. There's one that we finally disagree on. So
Yes.
Detroit at Green Bay. Green Bay minus 6.5. So Green Bay is at home with Detroit coming to town, and it's Green Bay, and they have to lay 6.5 points.
I'm taking Lions. I don't know if they'll be able to.
Okay, we're different there. I'm going to take the Packers. So I'm taking the Packers and laying the points. Okay, next one, San Francisco at the New York Jets. San Francisco at the Jets. Jets are the home team, and they get 6.5 points. Jets plus 6.5 at home with San Francisco coming to town.
I'm taking San Francisco.
As am I. The Jets are terrible. That's a good pick. Washington football team headed to Arizona. Arizona is laying 6.5. So it is Arizona minus 6.5 at home. Washington visiting. Who you got in that one?
I'm taking Washington. I think it's going to be a closer game.
So do I. I think Arizona's going to beat them by a field goal. So I'm going to take Washington and take my 6.5 points. Kansas City at the LA Chargers. Chargers, the home team, in that big fancy new stadium they got. The Chargers plus 8.5 points, so they're giving the home team 8.5. Kansas City coming to town. Who you got?
Kansas City.
Me too. I think they'll beat them by 30. Okay. Baltimore at Houston. Houston is at home. They get 6.5. Houston 6.5. Baltimore coming to town. Who do you got?
Wait, plus 6.5?
Yeah. Houston gets 6.5 points at home against Baltimore.
All right. This is gonna be close game, high scoring. I'm taking the Texans here.
You're gonna I'm gonna go with Baltimore, but I might switch that before Sunday. But it's hard. Them home teams, when the home teams in the NFL get points, especially that many, it's hard not to take them. So you're on Houston. Okay.
There are barely any fans.
Yeah, and we got to remind, this is all subject to change. We can change right up to kickoff.
Yes.
So, New England at Seattle. New England travels to Seattle. The Seahawks minus 4.5 at home. Seahawks minus 4.5 at home against the Patriots. Who you got?
I'm taking Patriots.
As am I. Until somebody beats them, you don't bet against them. And the Monday night game is the Saints at the Raiders. Las Vegas is plus 5.5 at home. So it's the Raiders and their 5.5 points against the Saints coming to town.
Taking Saints.
I took the Saints as well. And for the tiebreaker, the total points for that Saints-Raiders game, what are you thinking?
So what's the over-under?
I don't see. We don't have the over-under on this.
That's going to be a little hard. How about it's going to be – let's take 33. 33 points.
33 points total in the game by both teams?
Yes.
Okay.
It's not going to be that high scoring. They both have pretty good defenses.
Okay, defensive battle. All right. Well, you said you have a busy weekend. You have both football and baseball this weekend?
Yes.
Okay. And you're doing all your schoolwork and you're behaving at the house.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good. I'm just checking it. We don't need you getting in trouble. So
next week, did you say that there's going to be a surprise?
No. Do we have a surprise next week?
You said something that there's going to be a surprise last week.
On this week's?
No. Last week you said so it's going to be next week that we have a surprise, because last week you said in 2 weeks we have a surprise, and so what?
I don't remember. Was it our picks?
No. You just said we had a surprise.
I'm going to have to look at my notebook that I have at the house, man. I feel bad now. I don't remember. Oh, you know what it was?
What?
It was I thought the gambling, there's an app coming out. There's a gambling app.
Yes.
I know what it was now. There's a gambling app I thought we were going to be able to get on. You obviously would have nothing to do with it because you're too young. But we were going to try to these picks that we were putting in. We were going to try to live bet them and actually bet money on the games and see how we did. The app it's not out and ready yet in Colorado. Not the one I want to use. So.
And you're in Wyoming.
Yeah, but your dad would be the one. We'd have your dad. The executive producer would be the one executing the bets.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
So if we can get that app and get that taken care of, we're going to do it.
Okay.
Cool. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Perfect. I don't know. Next week we might go guestless next week and sit down one of the nights and just really talk about the football and the basketball. Does that sound good?
All right.
Cool. Well, one more time, thanks, Jim Brooks, for taking some time to talk with us. Maybe he's going to get a calling some high school football this year. We'll see. But if not, I'll talk to you next week, Jack.
All right.
Cool. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Stop video. Bam.
Okay, cool. Yeah, well, hopefully things slow down a little bit. Oh, wait, hold on. There you go. Hopefully things slow down a little bit next week, and we'll be able to do it on like a Wednesday night and get together and talk a little longer.
Wow, your internet is great over there.
What's that? Oh, I'm at work. We have stupid fast internet here at work.
All right.
So, but yeah, we're on some fast fiber. So, all right,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, we'll watch the games this weekend. Make sure you get your picks in on the fantasy, on ours, the CBS one, the Paradox of Sports one. Get your picks in there, and then we'll watch the games this weekend.
All right.
Cool. Thanks, dude.
Thanks.
Later.
Later.